I recently played a game of diplomacy in which there was an interesting phenomenon on two different fronts. And this phenomenon is called gaslighting. Now, gaslighting in real life is a very negative psychological phenomenon, a very negative attempt at manipulating another person. It is a psychological manipulation of a person, usually over an extended period of time, that causes the victim to question the validity of their own thoughts, perception of reality, or memories, and typically leads to confusion, loss of confidence and self-esteem, and uncertainty of one's emotional or mental stability, and a dependency on the perpetrator. It is a very bad thing in real life that we should avoid and fight as much as we can. But in diplomacy, it is acceptable to try to gaslight another player in a game of diplomacy, because when we join a game of diplomacy, we are accepting the possibility that other players will lie, deceive, and try to manipulate us, and they might even gaslight us. So putting doubts in our minds about our own perception of reality. Now, in this game, I was France, and I thought that another player, in this case Germany, was talking nonsense to me and saying nonsensical stuff. That actually led me to ally with England against Germany, because Germany was either very inexperienced or a very bad liar. Germany told me after the game that they weren't inexperienced. They actually were trying to gaslight me, which is interesting, I thought. I don't think it was a good attempt at gaslighting, but it was an attempt nonetheless. At the same time, Austria and Russia were having conversations that, according to Austria, were attempting at gaslighting them from Russia. And I would agree. Also bad attempts. But I will show you these two bad attempts at gaslighting to teach you how to avoid gaslighting, how not to gaslight a person, and if gaslighting is actually a possible psychological strategy in the game of diplomacy. So let's see what happened in this game. As I said, I'm France, and in 1901 I'm talking with all players, but mainly my neighbors England and Germany. With England, things seem to be going well. We agree to a DMZ in English channel. With Germany, things start to get weird. I contact Germany and I say, "Hi there, what about an FG?" Meaning a France-Germany alliance. "Do you like it?" And he says, "An FG can work very well. If you truly wish to see this, I expect an opening to English channel." Now, this is a big ask from Germany. I would basically declare war on England without having any idea if Germany is actually going to ally with me. So I say I don't really like opening to English channel as France. It limits my options to take Iberia, but I can give you Belgium if you need convincing. So I am trying to reach a compromise with Germany. I'm saying I'm not going to open to English channel in spring 1901. I'm fairly sure that England is not as well, but I will support you into Belgium. So I will give you a 3-beam start in exchange for your friendship. He says, an understandable statement. Though I don't crave Belgium, I won't deny it. Okay, that's a really bad way to accept a gift. Because if you imagine if you go to a birthday party and you bring a gift, and the guy that is getting the gift says, "I don't crave this gift, but I won't deny it." Like, just say thank you. Anyway, so I have to decide moves, and I'm moving Brest to Mid-Atlantic Ocean for sure. I like moving Paris to Burgundy. I have to choose if I want to move Marseille to Spain or if I want to support Paris to Burgundy. In this particular case, not having really a good read on what Germany is going to do, and I am suspicious of them because of their very cold press, I decide, you know what, I'm going to support Paris into Burgundy. This is actually the most common French opening, as far as I know, so it's not even that bad. And it's very good because, one, it gives me say over Belgium. If Germany tries to open to Burgundy, I not only bounce them out, I actually get into Burgundy myself. And if Italy opens to Piedmont, which Italy was promising me not to do, but if Italy moves to Piedmont, I can then use Marseille to take Spain and Burgundy to cover Marseille, so I don't lose anything to Italy and I don't have to guess with the Spanish unit. In fact, after turn processes, we see that not only Italy has done a very anti-French opening to Piedmont and to Tyrrhenian Sea, but Germany also tried to move to Burgundy. But fortunately, thanks to my opening, I got into Burgundy myself, and I can now cover Marseille and also take Spain at the same time. I will risk Burgundy by doing that, but this is the best opening I could have done if I knew these moves from Italy and Germany. My read on the board is that there is a Germany-Italy alliance against me, and I don't know if they actually told England about this, but anyway, whatever the case, I convinced England not to move to English Channel, so at least I have one possible friend. So I decide to talk with Germany, of course, and I say, well, I understand the attempt, but I'd rather you had not done that. And he says, I could say the same to you. This is a really bad start for a conversation, because what do you mean you could say the same to me? My opening was ambiguous, yes, because from Burgundy I could try to attack you and get into Munich. But at the same time, it's a very common French opening, and I didn't really attack you. You did. The best way to handle this as Germany is saying, yes, I admit it, I was trying to attack you, I was trying to sneak into Burgundy, but since you defended yourself, now let's be friends. And this is fine. They would admit what is obvious, so that they were trying to attack me, and they would accept their apology because I have my hands full with Italy as well, so I don't want two enemies now. But they say I could say the same for you, trying to doubt that they're at fault here. And when I say I did nothing against you, Burgundy is French territory, he says, I've done nothing so far. Honestly, if the plan was to give me Belgium, why move to Burgundy? Since you're attacking me. First of all, from Burgundy, I could have supported them into Belgium if they had moved to Ruhr. And second of all, he has done something against me. He has moved to Burgundy. I can see their moves, so I know that that's not true. So first lesson about manipulation and gaslighting in diplomacy. Don't tell obvious lies. The other player won't fall for obvious lies. You have to have a degree of believability in what you're saying. If, for example, they had said, yeah, someone had told me that you were moving Paris to Burgundy unsupported, so I wanted to try to bounce you out, maybe I could have believed that. But if they're just saying, no, I'm not attacking you, you're attacking me, that is really not believable. It's so not believable that it's just aggravating me, and it's just convincing me to run to England and say to England, hey, let's be best friends because this Germany is making no sense. So I tell to Germany, you're making no sense. My opening is by far the most common French one. Your opening is anti-French, please stop, you'll get nothing. And then we get the usual I'm die trying, the players tell you when you say you get nothing by attacking me. This is not a good response. Just say, okay, but I will try, if you want to say that. Because if you say I'm die trying, I think that there is no chance for us to ever be friends, and I just ran to England at this point. So they tried to gaslight me, to warp my perception of reality, and trying to convince me that I was attacking them and not them me. The problem is that 1, it's an obvious lie. 2, I'm not inexperienced. Maybe this tactic can work on an inexperienced player that doesn't really know what moves mean. It's not a good tactic against a player that can read a board, at least somewhat. And 3rd, I'm not scared. First of all, because I'm France, and France is very defensible. But even if I was Austria, and I had huge chances of being eliminated if I am attacked from 2 or more sides, I don't really care. Like, I know that I can defend as best as I can, and I will try to do so. I won't just bow to Germany and admit that I am attacking them, even though it's not true, just to make them happy. I will actually call out their lie so that they know I'm not a fool. I understand they're trying to manipulate me, or they're just trying to say nonsense, and then they don't think that it's easy to manipulate me, and that can deter them from trying again. So if you don't call out an obvious lie, the other player will think that you can be lied over and over and manipulated. But if you say to a player, yeah, I know that you're making no sense, you're just telling obvious lies, maybe they won't lie to you so easily again. So this is what happened with Germany. In my opinion, a bad attempt of gaslighting. In fact, I didn't even think this was gaslighting. I was just thinking that Germany didn't know what they were talking about. But they told me, no, I was trying to convince you that you were attacking me instead of me attacking you. That's fine. At the same time, another attempt of gaslighting was taking place from Russia to Austria. Basically, as you can see, in spring 1901, Russia moved to Galicia unopposed. This usually happens if Russia and Austria have agreed on demilitarizing Galicia and then one of them sneaks in anyway, in this case Russia. After that, in autumn 1901, Russia tried to take Vienna from Austria, but Austria bounced them out with Budapest. So Russia guessed wrong on which one to attack from, between Vienna and Budapest. So let's see their conversation, because after these two moves, Austria actually told everyone in global chat, hey, watch out for this Russia, they have been lying to me in press every turn. So it seems like Russia really pissed off Austria. But why? What did they do? So in spring 1901, Russia says to Austria, hey Austria, how are you doing? I'm interested in trying to get something like an Austria-Russia alliance going. Would you be down for something like that? If so, what do you want to do with Galicia? A very understandable, precise, and reasonable message from Russia. This is exactly what I want to see from Russia if I'm Austria. So Austria says, definitely, probably DMZ. If you are going Austria-Russia, I would like you to move north. Is that cool? So Austria is asking to DMZ Galicia and is asking Russia to open north, which is a big ask. Russia says, I won't be able to move north until 1902 at the earliest, but that's fine. So they refuse to open north in 1901, which is fine, to be honest. And then he says, do you mind if I move to Galicia so I can take Romania this year and maybe force Black Sea? If you're going Austria-Russia, I don't want Turkey to have Black Sea or anything. So Russia has a big ask of their own. They ask Austria, hey, since you want to DMZ Galicia, why don't you let me take Galicia so I can guarantee Romania? That is quite an ask, and if I was Austria, I would never accept that, either with both DMZ Galicia or with bounce. So if I see this message from Russia, I say, no, Russia, then let's bounce. But Austria is still firm on convincing Russia not to open to Galicia. So they say, I really prefer you don't. I'm happy to move to Budapest with Vienna and support you into Romania. This is wishful thinking from Austria. They want to believe that Russia will not move to Galicia, so they're already announcing that they're not moving to Galicia either, which is a recipe for Russia moving to Galicia. Russia says, well, I'm bouncing with Turkey in Black Sea, so he doesn't get it. Would you rather bounce in Galicia? Probably this message arrived a few seconds before the turn ends, so it's probably an attempt at justifying the Russian move into Galicia. And where Russia moves into Galicia, they say, sorry, I'm a bit late on press. I thought you said you wanted to bounce in Galicia. Okay, this is the attempt at gaslighting that Russia is making, but it's another bad attempt. Why try to lie about a thing that Austria knows for a fact that it's not true, because they know they never said that and they can check the press? This is a very unnecessary lie. Just say, hey, I went to Galicia because now I can guarantee Romania and I'm going to take Romania. I'm not going to attack you. You can simply apologize for your small betrayal without denying that you have betrayed someone. Because if you don't acknowledge it, that is only gonna piss off the person that you have actually stabbed. Austria rightly says, how? How did you think I wanted to bounce? I never said that word. And Russia says, you didn't say anything, so I assumed you were moving there. Which is, clearly a lie, but at least open with this. Say, hey, you didn't say anything, so I assume you were moving there. Actually, Austria told you that they were not going to move there, but it's fine. So this is another attempt at manipulation. And after that, when Russia moves to Vienna and gets bounced by Austria, Russia says, so now what? I moved to Vienna instead of Budapest because I thought you wanted to bounce. And Austria rightly says, what? That doesn't even make any sense. Please stop. So basically, Austria and I are saying the same thing to Germany and Russia at the same time. They're both saying that doesn't make any sense, and please stop saying this nonsense. In my opinion, both Russia and Germany are taking the wrong approach at manipulation, and Austria and I are responding correctly. We are calling them out on their lies. We're not letting them mislead us in any way because we can see the reality. Of course, a correct manipulation is not this obvious, but this is a good example. And we are convincing them not to try to manipulate so easily, because we're not gonna fall for that. Also, this kind of obvious manipulation alienates completely your possible enemy or even possible ally. If Germany had told me, yeah, I admit it, I tried to sneak into Burgundy, I would have accepted that immediately. My moves wouldn't have changed, but my tone towards Germany for the rest of the game would have changed drastically. I could have considered Germany a reasonable player that can be worked with. Instead, I thought it was impossible for me to work with Germany after 1901. And Austria probably thought the same of Russia, even writing in global chat that Russia was not to be trusted. After this, we will see that Turkey and Austria will ally against Russia, and England and I will ally against Germany. So it didn't really work for Germany and Russia to make these moves. They played well enough, and they had solid alliance structures that allowed them not to have a bad game, actually. But I don't think this was the right way to gaslight. So what is the correct way to gaslight someone in diplomacy? Honestly, I think the only way to gaslight someone in diplomacy is to have a believable lie. If you can manipulate a person by making them believe that your way to read a certain situation is the right one and their way is the wrong one, it has to be in a situation that is at least partially ambiguous. If it is a clear situation, like Germany moving to Burgundy in 1901, you have no reason to try to gaslight France and convince them that that wasn't an attack. At most, just say, hey, I was trying to bounce you. Anyway, it is very interesting that Russia and Germany tried the same trick at the same time. But I don't think it was well executed. The key to overcome gaslighting and every other type of manipulation in diplomacy anyway is not to be scared. You have to make it clear to your enemy that you're not scared of them, even if you're losing, and that will disincentivize them to try to trick you. They might still try to trick you, but at least you have better chances of having an honest conversation with them, even if you're fighting. Anyway, see you next time.